Hi everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and warm welcome to our new webinar where we are going to talk about ISO 27001 implementation strategies for success. Hi team, myself Abhishek, I will be your host for down the line for 2 days for this webinar. Okay, so if you talk about myself, I started my career specifically into a network domain. Okay, with one organization there I was been taking care about all the network applications, not only application, the networking terminologies as well. Okay, post to that, one of my very close friend has introduced me about an cyber security, which gained me a keen interest. Okay, so I started learning about and specifically offensive side of an security. Okay, so I started building a career into an offensive security and landed up working as an pen tester. Okay, now during this tenure I try to gain certain knowledge into that area. Not only that, try to manage to bag up some of the certification as well from an offensive perspective. Not only that, there was one more interest in me, gained an interest in me, that what after this. Okay, if there's any attack has been happening, how this team has been managing, who has been managing. Okay, so after that I started learning about a defensive side of security, where I helped organization in building of an SOC. Not only I started as an forensic investigator, okay, as an threat intel, then down the line I helped organization as well in building up an SOC environment. Okay, and post to that, as the learning goes on, I was very much closely related with an GRC when it talks about an offensive defensive, was been closely working with the controls as well. So so moved my career into an GRC domain. Okay, now during this tenure I tried to back few of the certification. So certification like from an EC Council, I hold certification CH, CSCU, CTIA, CSA, ECIH, FAM, and CompTIA. I hold certification like A plus, N plus, Security plus, CYSA plus, Pentest plus, and from an auditing site, I hold few certification like ISO 27001 lead implementer, lead auditor, CISA, and couple of your cloud certification as well. As we are into a security domain, what I think that every day is a new learning. Okay, we have to keep ourselves updated and upgraded as well to survive into the market. Okay, that's what I think. I am been associated with an infosec trend from a very long time. Okay, and when we talk about an infosec trend has been established in 2016. Okay, not only that, we are one of the finance, security, and technology training and consultants company where we provide wide ranges of professional training program and certifications as well. And along with that, we provide consultancy as a service as well in IT and cybersecurity domain. Okay, so all the trainers are well qualified, certified as well. Okay, if anyone have any specific requirement, custom training requirement, we do cater with that as well. Okay, now during this tenure, InfosecTrain has multiple trusted client as well. Okay, so these all are partnered with an InfosecTrain, and we are providing them a service as well. Okay, and when we talk about choosing an InfosecTrain, what advantage you will be getting. So as I said, all the instructors are certified and experienced, holding an experience nearly more than 10 to 15 years. Okay, you can get a flexible training model as well, and you can get an access to training recordings as well. Okay, post training completion certification and any custom requirement. Yes, absolutely, we can help you with that as well. Okay, and not only that, we have some global learning partners as well, like Microsoft, CompTIA, ISACA, ITpreneur, PECB, EC Council. Okay, so these are our few partners. Okay, now let's get started with our training. Okay, so we are here to talk about an auditing specifically of an ISO 27001 and how we are going to go with an implementation. What is the process from and scratch? Okay, how we are going to help your organization in building the infrastructure of an ISMS. Okay, so that is what our agenda is. Okay, now what we are going to cover in our training session. So first we are going to understand about an ISO 27001. Okay, so we will be getting an overview about a standard, its significance in today's cybersecurity landscape. Along with that, we'll move into an second phase, that is your preparation for implementation. Okay, where we are going to access the organization, what are their readiness, setting up uncertain objective. Okay, granting leadership support. Once we have an support from your leadership, then we start with a gap assessment. We also call it as a gap analysis and risk assessment. We identify existing security control over here. Okay, we evaluate the gap and conduct and risk assessment. Once the assessment has been done, then we develop an ISMS framework. Okay, now what we do in developing in this development phase of an ISMS framework, we establish policies, we establish procedures. Okay, and post to that, we do a documentation to meet our ISO 27001 requirement. Okay, that is what we do in our development phase. After your policies has been established, after your documentation has been done, here comes the main part, is your implementation. Okay, create a structure, create a roadmap. Okay, not only that, to do an implementation we require certain resources as well. We are going to define roles and responsibility to work over there. Okay, that is what our implementation planning is looks like. Okay, now, once the implementation has been done, then we go or forecast the culture of the security inside the organization. So, how we are going to maintain this thing? Okay, to maintain, we are going to train the employee, all the employees, and provide them an awareness training program related to the controls which have been established inside the organization, because they also want to know what has been established, which control has been added. Until unless we don't give them an information about that, how that will be followed. Okay, so that will be the next phase. After that, we go with an monitoring and measure. Okay, where we implement mechanism of ongoing monitoring process, where we measure the or you can say the review the ISMS as well. Okay, once the monitoring has been done, then we go with an audit preparation. Okay, preparing for an internal audit, making sure that we are ready for an assessment, all ensuring the compliance, ensuring it has been compliance complying with your ISO 27001 standard. Okay, now once it has been done, why we are doing this? To get and certified. Okay, to get and certified on ISO 27001. That is what the main agenda for the organization is. Okay, everything is been placed correctly. Let's go and get a certification. Okay, so achieving a certification, we are going to talk about how an organization can navigate to a certification process, how they are going to select a certified body. Okay, and after that, what they are going to do, they are going to prepare for an external audit, stage 2 audit. Okay, once they granted once they get a certificate, after that what they are going to do, they are going to go with a continuous improvement. Okay, establish a process. Okay, go with a continuous improvement based on to your ISMS, based on to the feedback, based on to your lesson learned, because we are going to maintain this thing. Okay, maintain the ISO 27001. How we are going to do? Every time we are going to go with a continuous improvement. Okay, review the control, do and risk assessment, do and gap assessment, perform an internal audit. Okay, so this will be the agenda for our webinar. Step by step, we are going to talk in depth about all these things. Now, we are here to understand about 27001. Now, before to that, let's understand what is an ISO. Okay, so let's first understand what is an ISO. So certainly, ISO 27001 specifically, it's an international standard. Okay, which is going to provide us a framework for your information security management system, that is your ISMS. Okay, not only that, this ISO 27001, it's widely recognized as well as a leading standard for information security management system. Okay, so this thing has been designed to help the organization, okay, to protect their informational asset. Now assets are what? Assets are those which is holding a value. Assets can be anything for the organization, okay, which generally holds a value. Employees are the asset, tables are the assets, the laptop which we are using, again it's an asset because they are holding certain value. Okay, so in 27001 you will be getting a detailed overview, okay, about how we are going to manage and how we are going to go with an ISMS. Okay, now not only that, this ISO 27001 is a standard which has been published by ISO, International Organization for Standardization. Okay, that's it what the full form of an ISO is, International Organization for Standardization. Okay, and along with that there is one more body which is your International Electrotechnical Commission. Okay, so what they are doing, they are specifying the requirement for establishing, implementing and maintaining your ISMS within the organization. Okay, so this standard has been designed to help organization to manage their security in terms of the asset, in terms of their informational asset. Okay, so it can be your financial information, it can be your intellectual property, it can be your employee details. Okay, so we are going to manage, we are going to secure those areas, those information. Now, not only that, how we try to manage this thing, specifically ISO 27001, there's an length of a process which we are going to talk about, okay, down the line, which we are going to learn as well. Okay, so generally when we say ISMS, it's an information security management system for 27001, which is giving us a requirement. Okay, it's a leading international standard which has been published. Okay, widely been recognized, and under to that we have multiple other standard as well which has been coming under to your 27000 series. Okay, specifically under 27000 series we have many standards, okay, which has been published by ISO. Now if you want to see what all standards are there, so directly you can visit into the website of an ISO. Okay, and over there complete information is available. Okay, what is the update process, is there anything is been newly update in any of the standard, so each and everything we can get it over there. Okay, now, okay, so as I said, we have a 27000 family series. Okay, now in this 27000 family series, let's talk about this. So this was been developed with an common vocabulary. Okay, that is your information security. There are certain requirement standard. Okay, and not only that, we have certain guidance standard as well. Okay, now requirement standard are what? Requirement standard, against to that we can get certified. Okay, if your organization want to get certified, there are certain mandatory things for those standard. Okay, so specifically we have 27006. Okay, which is your organization providing an audit for and certification of ISMS. We have 27001, which has been talking about information security management system, and we have 27701, which has been talking about privacy information management system. Okay, so you can get certified against to this. Okay, not only that, we have certain general guides as well which is supporting the standard. Okay, providing and guidance, providing and step by step approach. Okay, if we want to follow, it's totally depending on to the organization whether they want to follow or not. It's not a mandatory requirement. Okay, totally depending on onto the organization. Yes, we have a guide available. If you want to follow it, how to do an implementation, we have 27006 available, which is giving and guiding on your information security management security control. Okay, then we have 27004. Okay, which is your giving and guidance on monitoring and measure. Then we have 27007 and 08, which has been guiding on your auditing of your ISMS. Uh, okay, then we have industry guides as well. Okay, like your telecom provider, so for your telecom sector, for your guidance under to your 27001, we have for your healthcare informative as well, 27799. Okay, and there are multiple other such standards available. Okay, now when we talk about the standard, okay, specifically 27001, Now let's see when this thing has been developed. Again, it's an important thing we should be aware how this thing has been developed, when this thing has been developed. Okay, so ISO, what they have done, they had published, okay, they had published the information related to this standard as well. The first standard was information security that was been given by the UK as an British standard in the year 1990. The UK Department of Trade and Industry has published a code of practice under to the name of an BS 7799. Code of practice that has been published by your UK Department of Trade and Industry. Okay. Then in the year 1995, your first version of BS 7799 was been published. Okay. Then in the year 2000, the British standard was been adopted by ISO and they gave it as a name of 1799. Okay. By the name of an information security management system code of practice was been published in the year 2000. Okay. In 2005, the standard got revised and ISO 27001 as a requirement standard was been published. Okay. In 2007, ISO 27006 was been published, which was been meant for the certification body. Okay. That those organizations would be those body would be auditing the organization. For them, there are certain mandatory things have been given. Okay. Let's suppose my organization want to get certified. Okay, now the body which is going to give an certification, there are certain requirement standard was been published by the ISO in the year 2007. Okay, now then in between 2008 to 2012 there are multiple other standards who have been added to the information security family. Okay, in 2013 your 2001 and 2000 27001 and 27002 is been revised. Okay, first year 27001 and was been revised in 2005. Along with that 27002 came up. Okay, then in we started using it. Okay, we started adopting it as a revised version. After that the review has been happened. Now this you can see one certain change. The change is every 5 years there is something has been happening. Okay, now every 5 years what they do and review. Okay, review for the established standard, whether we can go with the standard. If we want to make any changes, let's go with that, because the tools, the technology is getting evolved every day. Multiple things have been happening every day, so we have to make sure we are up with those trends. Okay, for that reason the standard is getting revised in a tenure of in 5 years. Okay, now when the standard was been published in 2013, after that the review has happened. Okay, in the year 2019. So what they have done, they have followed the same one. Okay, when the review has been done, they said okay, we can still go with the same standard. Okay, no need to make any changes. It's completely fine as of now. We don't see any loophole. We don't see any drawback. So let's go ahead and adopt the same. Okay, so again, we started using the same standard. Now, lately in the year 2022, the standard got revised as an 27,001 2022. Okay, so this standard is in guidance given by the ISO that every standard need to be reviewed in the tenure of in 5 years. Okay, and if you want to cross verify how this thing has been going, as I said, again we can go into the website of an ISO. There we can get the complete detail. Okay, what is the review system, when the review has been happened, undergoing state as well, what is the current state of the standard, so we can get the complete information directly on the website of an ISO. Okay. Now, let's suppose my organization want to have this ISO 27001. Now with this, what advantage that will be bringing? Okay. So there are multiple advantages as well. Now before to jump into an advantage, there are a few more things. Okay, I want to discuss. Okay. So the things as in Okay. So the things as in what we get in the standard specifically in 27001. Okay. So when it comes to an ISO 27000 ISO framework, the purpose of ISO 27001 is that the standard of the framework. Okay. The standard and the framework is what? It's a combination of your policy process for the organization. Okay. So ISO 27001 will going to provide a framework which is going to help the organization. That organization can be of an any size. It can be of an any industry. Agenda is to protect the information in what? In a systematic manner. Not only that, it should be in a effective way as well. Okay, that is what your ISO has been saying. Okay, so you can say this can be a definition for an ISO. Okay, now under to the standard, what are there are the requirement given by the ISMS, requirement in the form of an clauses, specifically from clause number 4 to and clause number 10. Okay, so whenever say we say an requirement means we use an verb by shall means mandatory. Okay, so what we get an you can say we get an requirement clauses. Under to that requirement clauses there are controls. Okay, now in total how many controls are there? In total there are 93 controls. 93 controls of your information security. Okay, and those 93 controls have been categorized under 4 groups. Okay, this we are going to discuss as well down the line. Okay, I'm just giving you a general overview. Okay, so everyone should be on the same page before we talk about this annexure, before we talk about this the specific control. Okay, so basically it gives a framework. Under to that framework, what we are going to do, we are going to have some policies and processes. Okay, so this ISO 27001 can be adopted by any organization, or it can be adopted by any department of the organization as well. So basically there are multiple departments, like internally, let's say in our organization we have sales department, finance department, HR department, marketing department. Okay, so ISO 27001 can be adopted by all this department as well. Okay, so this decision will be taken by the organization in which department they want to adopt, or else if they want to adopt this for the whole organization, it's totally depending on the organization. It's not a mandatory. The ISO has been saying that yes, you have to, if you are going for a certification, your complete organization should be comply with this. No, it's not a mandatory. Okay, it's totally depending on to the organization. If you want to go for any particular department, go ahead and do the implementation. Guys, I have not shared the screen yet. I'm into the same screen. I'm just giving you a general overview before we proceed, before we talk about those controls and clauses. Okay, so let's come back. So we were been talking about the advantage, what advantage it will bring for an organization. So okay, so any organization who adopt implementation of an ISO 27001, they would be able to improve the security environment. Okay, implementation of an ISO management system, whether it's an 27001 or any actual leading, or you can say any actual leading certification, it is going to lead to a good governance as well, because ISO standard requires certain commitment from whom? Commitment from your top management. Okay, it improved your security. Okay, so general improvement of an information security effectiveness, better manage of an information security control as well. It provides a good governance as well, awareness and empowerment of a persons regarding to an information security. increased to the top management who have been accountable for this information security. So as I said, when we go with an implementation of an ISO 27001, okay, so what the ISO standard has been saying, it requires certain commitment from your top management. So obviously, any organization who gets 27001 certified, either it's in UK, either it's in US, either it's in Australia, either it's in India, either it's in Nigeria, the standard remains the same. The requirement are the same. Okay, it is an international recognize it got an international recognition as well. Okay, not only that, your customer will be more satisfied. They will get and more confidence on your organization because you are dealing with, because they have been dealing with, their information are getting stored. Okay, now think as it is, if InfosecTrain has been certified with an ISO 27001, that means whatever information you have been providing with us, information in the form of your name, your phone number, your email ID, we are going to make sure those are been protected and not been shared with anyone until and unless if it has been asked by an government. Okay, with this definitely it is going to give you an confident that yes, my information has been kept secret, my information has been kept, I can say it's not been shared with anyone. Okay, along with that, it gives you an competitive advantage as well. Okay, fulfillment of a requirement, an expectation of customer and interested party, consolidating the confidence of the organization, customer, supply, and partner. Okay, if I'm associating or if I'm doing a business with other organization, okay, so other organization will be getting an you can say they will be getting a competitive advantage and they will be getting a satisfaction as well. Yes, my information has been safe. Okay, so it improves your information security, general improvement of an information security, we can say. Okay, because we have established a mechanism of an ISMS to measure or to check the effectiveness of the management system, which is going to give an opportunity to identify the weakness. If there is any weakness, we are going to go with a corrective action. Okay, along with that, we can get a good governance as well. We are providing an awareness training program. We are doing an empowerment for your personal regarding to your information security as well. Okay, what are the due care, what are the due diligence as well. Okay, with that, we are going to maintain the confidence. We are the auditor is going to make sure that there is no problem, no weakness. Okay, it's going into and conformative to the industry standard. Okay, okay, so like this we are going to we can get an extra benefit, or you can say extra advantage into the market. Okay, so that's what your ISO will be bringing onto the picture if we go ahead and adopt this thing. Okay, now along with that, there are a few more things which I want to discuss. Okay, in terms of your importance, in terms of your can say what extra benefit. Okay, so the importance as in from the ISMS perspective, what benefit you have been getting with an ISMS, it reduce and ensure the business continuity by minimizing the exposure of an information security risk as well. Okay, not only that, it protects the valuable assets as well and sensitive information as well. Okay, so as I said, ISMS, information security management system, they are dealing with the assets. Which asset? The valuable assets. Not only that, they are securing the sensitive information as well by implementing certain control. Okay, offering competitive advantage into the market too. Okay, not only that, it enhance reputation and gives and confidence to customer as well. Okay, so as we said, as we discussed, if my information is getting stored with an InfosecTrain, it is going to give me an confident enough if they have been certified as an you can say certified from your ISO 27001 perspective. Okay, because it's organization, you can say duty that they are reducing the risk. Okay, they are minimizing the exposure to an information security. They are protecting the sensitive information, and definitely it is going to give me a benefit. Okay, protecting confidentiality, availability, and integrity. You might have heard about a CIA, the three pillars of your information security. Okay, so we are maintaining it from a security perspective. One more thing I want to add up over here. When we talk about an implementation of an 27001 or performing an auditing from of an 27001, one main thing has been required: the basic understanding of an security. Until unless we are been lacking in that, it is going to you can say it is going to lead into our audit. It is going to impact into our audit. It is going to impact in our studies as well. Okay, so that is the fundamental, you can say, the baseline we have to create. Now we know about an ISO, what ISO is. Not only that, we know about specifically what ISO 27000 is, from where it has been developed. Okay, we have looked into the family of an 27001. Okay, how it has been developed. It started with a code of and practice which has been published by UK department. After that, your first practice code of practice has been published. Then your second code of practice by the name of an information security specification was been published. After that, information security management system code of and practice has been published. Then this got revised as an information security management system in the year 2005. After that, ISO has published certain requirement for a certification body. Once the requirement has been published, then the family has developed and published multiple other standard as well. Okay, before to 2022, we were been using an ISO 27001 2013 till 2019. After that, in the year 2022, the new version has been revised, it's been published. Okay, and we have been adopting and still going with the updated version. Okay, so as of now, if organization is already been certified, they are undergoing certain process to update, to revise the standard as per the new policy. Okay, so we understood about the deployment standard. Not only that, we had talked about what advantage it will be bringing into the market if we have a certification. Okay, we discuss about the advantage, we discuss about the importance of an ISMS. Now the next thing, the next picture comes over here. Okay, I know about an ISO, I know about an ISO 27001. Now how about if my organization want to go with an implementation? What will be the process for an implementation? Okay, from where I can get all this information? So what I have done, I have created a small chart. Okay, which has been talking about the implementation phases. So we have a step-by-step approach. What my first step has been saying: management support. Okay, until unless your management decide, yes, we want to go with an ISO 27001, and yes, we are going to help you in that. We are going to have and set up a team. Okay, we are going to have a certification on that as well. Okay, give us a project, give us a plan for that, how we can aim this. Okay, how we can establish the ISO 27001, what will be the budget required. Okay, so once we have an support from a management, then only we can begin with an implementation. Okay, now once the support has been given by your top management, then we go with an starting with a project. This is my project initiation. We are going to establish an implementation project. Okay, along with that, we are going to establish a team as well who is going to work over here. Okay, now who is going to assign a roles and responsibility to this team? Your management, your top management stakeholders is going to assign roles and responsibility. Okay, so as a lead implementer, I am going to develop the project plan, outline. Okay, And in that outline, what I'm going to define, I'm going to define the scope first. Okay, defining, I'm going to define a scope that we want to achieve. We want to go with an ISO 27001, that is your information security management system. Okay, we are going to set up a boundary. What will be my business function? Where, what will be my supporting asset? Under to that organization context, okay, including your business objective, or you can say the legal and regulatory requirement. What are your external and internal factor maybe, okay, which can affect the ISMS? Include those as well. Define your information security roles, responsibility, authorities within the organization. Okay, so understand about the organization context, including your business. So first we are going to understand about the business, understanding about the organization, and after that we are going to define a scope, and in that scope we are going to draw certain boundaries. Okay, now there might be a confusion into your mind. What is one scope? How I can understand about the scope? So in a general term, you can say, in an easy term, what I can say, let's suppose I want to go with a certification. I decide that this year I want to have at least one certification in my bag. Okay, now I will be taking a time that which certification I should go, which is going to give me a benefit in my, you can say, in my career. Okay, so presently I am been working into, let's say, uh, into cybersecurity, and specifically into a defensive domain. Okay, so let's say I've been working with a defensive domain of a cybersecurity, and I'm working as a SOC analyst. Okay, now to grow, okay, not only to grow, to survive into the market, I will go ahead and look for which certification will be beneficial for me. Okay, so deciding the certification will become a scope, that yes, I want to go ahead and have a certification of a threat intelligence. There is a certification available for that. I want to master in threat intel. Okay, so I'm deciding a scope over here. I'm deciding a curriculum. I'm deciding my boundaries. Apart from defensive domain is very big domain. Under to defensive domain, I have selected one area, one part where I want to master. I want to get skilled. Okay, so that is what you're defining a scope is. After the scope has been defined, then we go ahead and write an information security policy. Okay, now who is going to write this information security policy? Your top management is going to write this. Okay, so they are going to write certain policy, not each and everything. Okay, so they are going to write certain policies for, let's suppose, I am been working as an accountant. Okay, so as an accountant, what roles and responsibilities should be assigned? Okay, along with that, what can I access, what cannot I access, how I will be going, how I will be presenting. Let's suppose I have to visit to an organization, to an office every day. So how I will be going? I will be going to an transportation. Let's suppose it is been managed by me. So once I reach to an office, so first thing what we do, we use our access card to go inside the premises. Okay. Now what that access card has been doing? It is doing, and you can say, authentication. Sorry, authorization. Okay, so what the management has done, they have defined a policy that only the authorized person can come inside this premises. Then how we are going to cross verify those, this authorized person will be having an access card with him. Okay, until and unless he have an access card, he can come inside this premises, or else he will be contacting the security guard who has been sitting over there. Okay, so organization, what they have done, they have defined two policy, they have defined two controls as well. Okay, so one control has been saying go with an authentication, and second control is monitoring all the activity, who has been coming in, who has been going out. Along with that, he is been maintaining a record as well. Okay, so like this, your management is going to support over here. They are going to write certain policy. Now, once the policy has been written, the base policy has been written, then we are going to define the risk assessment or risk methodology. Okay, so as an implementer, we are going to perform a risk assessment. Okay, so find out the problem, find out the loophole, find out the weakness. Is there any weakness? Weakness to the control, weakness to certain policy, weakness to certain asset, okay, related to your ISMS. Find out that problem. Okay, so first we are going to select the methodology, then go ahead and start with a risk assessment. Once the risk assessment has been done, we got certain problems, we have to treat that problem as well. Okay, so that's what we do into our next step. Perform risk assessment and risk treatment as well. Make a plan how we are going to treat that risk, how we are going to narrow down that risk, because 100% I cannot treat any risk. In the world of cybersecurity, we cannot treat 100%. Risk will be there. If I go ahead and add a control, definitely I am going, what I'm doing, I'm minimizing it. Okay, but 100% I am not solving the problem. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's suppose I builded a house. Okay, now I builded a house. So this house can you can say there's a risk to this house as well, risk from a theft. Okay, thief can come inside this any of the time. So what I have done, I have added a security. What kind of a security? A lock has been added over here. Okay, now again there's a risk that thief can prick this lock. He can come inside this house. So I added one more security, that is your fence around the house. Again, there is a possibility he will be coming from a backside. Okay, bypassing this particular area and come inside the house. There can be a possibility. So I added one more layer of security, that is your CCTV camera. Okay, so this CCTV camera has been monitoring 24/7. What if this camera fails, or there is no you can say no memory has been left, or no internet connectivity is there, or let's say there is no power supply, power has been down, we don't have any backup. There might be a possibility, or the wire has been broken. Okay, so again this house will come under to and risk. So I added one more layer of security, that is a security guard has been sitting over here. Okay, he has been taking care of this house, monitoring who is coming in, who has been going out. What if the security guard is not available? He is ill for one day. He is not available on that day. Okay. So what I am doing over here, I am trying to treat the risk. Okay, by adding a layer of insecurity, but still there is an potential to an risk, potential to an weakness. Okay. So as I said, this cannot be 100% treated. But what we can do, we can minimize it. Okay, now how we can minimize it? By making a risk treatment plan. Make sure you have a risk treatment plan available. How you are going to treat that risk, whether it's a high risk, low risk, or medium risk, or moderate risk. Okay, once we have a risk treatment plan, risk has been treated, we started writing a statement of applicability. Okay, also known as your SOA. Okay, now SOA will be containing the controls that we have in your Annex A. Okay, under to your annexure A, we have 93 control. Okay, so SOA will be having those 93 control, all the 93 control. Now, which all controls you are going to add up inside this organization? Make sure you give an justification. If you are excluding any control, make an justification, provide a justification for that as well. If I'm adding a control, I am going to provide a justification why I'm been adding. If I'm removing any control, then also I'm going to provide a justification. Okay, So where that justification, where that information will be available, it will be available into your statement of applicability. Now, once your SOA has been written, we write a risk treatment plan. Okay, how the risk need to be treated in near future if there is any possibility. Sorry. Okay, so if there is any possibility or probability, okay, or if there is any risk, so what plan do we have? Because we are not going to wait for anything to be happening. Okay, we are not going to wait for any breach or for any attack to be happened. Already we are going to have a plan for that. What if the hacker is hacking my device, and after that I'm making a plan that how I'm going to resolve it, how I'm going to secure it. It will be of a no sense, isn't it? Okay, so it's better to have and plan it ready. Okay, so I can take into an action. Okay, if something has been happening, so let's send a team who is going to visit that site, who is going to make sure that further to that it won't be exceeded. Okay, so we are going to have an RCA team. Okay, now write a risk treatment plan. After that, define measure to effectiveness and control. If you are implementing any control, make sure you are going to maintain it. Okay, once the effectiveness of the control has been measured, after that implement all those security control. Now we have decided out of 93 control, as per the risk assessment, we had identified that we require only 45 control. Okay, along with that the justification has been given which controls is been excluded. For that also we had given a justification. Okay, along with that we have given a treatment plan as well. Now let's go ahead and implement all this control. Okay, now once this control has been implemented, after that make sure each and every employee is been aware of this. Okay, so tomorrow onwards what I have been saying that internally only internal website to be accessed. I am blocking all the external, or you can say all the social media website from the domain. Okay, if someone tries to visit it, he will get an error. Okay, and after that he is going to raise and request that yesterday I was able to visit the website, but now I'm not able to do. We are going to get a lot of requests, so it's better to provide them an information that tomorrow onwards we have blocked all the social media website. What is the reason behind to that? Because there can be a possibility that someone can send you a malicious link over in chat. We don't want that thing to happen, so anyone can take an advantage. There can be a possibility as well, phishing attack possibility. So make sure your all employees have been well aware of it, and who is going to provide and training related to that? Your lead implementer. Okay, or you can say the ISMS managers or management is going to provide an awareness training related to the security, information security control. Okay. Now, once the complete information has been given, training and awareness program has been given, then after that we started operating the ISMS inside the organization. Okay, make sure it has been monitored as well. Continuously everyone has been following the rule. Okay, now after that what we do, every quarterly or we can say twice in a year, we do an internal audit. Why we do an internal audit? To make sure this is been maintained, your ISMS, your ISO 27001 has been maintained. Okay, along with that management is going to review those document every year. Okay, so they are going to review the document if any changes need to be required. Okay, we have started using new technology. Make sure those information is been available as an evidence in our document. Tomorrow if the external auditor go ahead and challenge us that you started using this technology, this tool, do you have any information related to that, any evidence related to that? You started adopting certain control. Do you have any evidence for that? So make sure the management is going to review all those things, which is going to go with an corrective action. Okay, so this is a general information, okay, a small template how the implementation process work. Okay, and we are going to learn about all this thing, okay, a step by step. Okay, so I guess so everyone has been clear what is the process, how it has been started. First, management will take a decision. Okay, once the decision is taken, then we start a project. Okay, to run a project, what we require a team, roles and responsibilities have been assigned. Then writing of an information security policy has been done. Okay, once the information security policy has been written, then we define risk assessment methodology, what type of a risk assessment methodology we are going to select, which type of an assessment we are going to go with. Okay, once that has been selected, then we perform risk assessment and risk treatment as well. Once the assessment has been done, once the weakness has been identified, based on to that, we go ahead and start write a statement of applicability, which controls need to be added or which control need to be omitted. Okay, then we write a risk statement plan as well. If there is a risk or if there is a risk near to and future to those asset, how we are going to treat it. Make sure you have a plan ready. Okay, define your measure and effective controls, effectiveness of the controls which we are going to implement, how we are going to make sure that this has been secured, how we are going to maintain it. Okay, once we have that, go ahead and do the implementation, implement all the security control which has been given into your SOA. Okay, once the implementation has been done, make sure all the employees have been aware, well aware about it. Okay, and then we start operating the ISMS. Okay, now once the operation has been done, make sure you have been monitoring all the activity, everyone has been following with the same. If I have been saying that everyone is going to go ahead and use an access card, that has been monitored. How it has been monitored? By the logs. Okay, with the help of the security guard as well. Okay, now once the monitoring measure of an ISMS has been performed, then go with the internal audit. Make sure this thing has been working fine. There is no problem in any of the control. There is nothing has been left in between. Okay, that's why we do an internal audit, and based on to that, management is going to review the document every year. We go with a management review. Okay, that is what my corrective action is. Once we go ahead and have a project in place, okay, so we have an implementation process. So after that, what we do, we start with a gap assessment. Okay, now let's understand the gap assessment, or you can say the gap analysis first. Now gap analysis what is a technique where we use to determine certain step, okay, to move from current state to a desired future state. Okay, so what do we have? We have an action plan. Okay, now what will be the action plan generally? So first, we are going to see what is our current state and what is our objective, our desired state. Okay, and in the between, what is the difference? Okay, I want to go ahead and become a you can say the best instructor into the market. For that, I have to complete certain things. What are the certain things? Make sure you are good technical and non-technical sound enough in those area. Okay, you know about each and every terminology. Okay, so difference between the aim and the current state, that is what we do in a gap analysis. Okay, so first what we do while analyzing the existing system, we are going to list certain activity. Okay, let me tell you about those lists as well. Okay, so what we do, we list certain activity. First activity, what I'm going to do, I'm going to determine the current state. Once the current state has been determined, then I will be moving to an step number 2, that is your conduct gap analysis Once the gap analysis has been done, then I will be moving with a third step, establish maturity target, okay, and publish the gap analysis report. This is what your 4 steps have been saying. Okay, so first determine the current state. Once you know or once you have an information, now how we are going to determine the current state? What is the current state of the organization? So for that we are going to collect certain information. Okay, information by observation, information by questioning. Okay, information, you are going to gather the information by interviewing. Okay, so observation as in, so first step what I'm going to do. Okay, so first I will be collecting the information through an observation, observing the organization operation, observing their system, observing their staff who have been involved in operation, who have been involved, we can say, into system. So we are going to understand fully, understand the organization. Once you know about an organization, then you will start asking the question. Okay, now who is going to collect this information? The project team will be gaining the detailed knowledge of your existing management system. How? By collecting the information from multiple sources. Okay, so they are going to determine that what will be the they are going to determine the situation first. Okay, and what data they want to collect. The choice of an data or the method will be based on to will be decided by your project team. Okay, so as I said, observation, so we are going to observe the site first. We are going to observe the physical security control. Okay, we are going to observe the system, we are going to observe the operation as well, and the staff involved in that operation. Okay, once we have a complete understanding about the organization, then we conduct an interview. Okay, so conducting an interview would be, I can say, first of all, how the interview should be into an open-ended. Okay, so you are going to choose only open-ended question, no close-ended question or no guidance question. We are going to ensure that everything has been covered. Okay, so as per our requirement, we are going to ask all the specific questions which have been relatable to your ISMS, relatable to your information security. So during this interview, it may be useful for us that clearly specify the terminology as well. Okay, so what question you are going to ask, make sure you have a question in ready, and those questions should be into an open-ended. Make sure you are not going with a close-ended question. Okay, along with that, we are going to take a notes as well during those interview. Whatever that response from that person is, make sure you are taking a notes as an evidence. Okay, now once the interview has been done, now there can be a two type of an interview. Okay, either the interview can be done into an individual format, or either it can be a group interview as well. It's totally depending on to that uh, audit team. They want to go ahead and do an individual interview. Okay, or they want to go ahead and have a group interview. It's totally depending on to them. Okay, okay, someone has asked question. Okay, what type of a question? Okay, let me tell you how the open-ended and closed-ended question is. Okay, so your open-ended question will always start with what, who, how, when, where, all the five W's and one H. How you have, when you have attended the session. If you have not attended the session, you are going to give a justification for that as well. I am asking a question. When did you attended this session? Now you are going to ask. You are going to ask which session. Okay, the ISO 27001 webinar. So I have attended this session through an meeting link. Okay, this is how your open-ended question should be. Okay, so we are going to mention our requirement. Okay, we are going to give an we are going to mention the approach as well. Okay, we are going to mention points as well. For what point we want more information, make sure you are mentioning those things. Okay, so with open-ended question we can get more valuable information, isn't it? So what was my question? When did you attended the session? Okay, with this you are going to provide me an more information. Which session? Okay, that ISO 27001. We have attended the session on you can say on 15th of April by XYZ time. Okay. Now again there will be a second question. How did you attended the session? I have attended the session through one GoToMeeting link. Okay, so like this I am getting more information. Okay, and within close-ended question, I will be getting some the limited information in the format of an yes and no. Okay, now, so first we determine the current state. Okay, the process, the security control that have been placed within the organization should be identified. Okay, then we are going to identify the target objective. Okay, sorry, the main use of this gap analysis is what it is going to provide us an basis, or you can say provide us an information related to your ISMS. Okay, how you are going to measure the necessary investment in the time, in the money, in the human and other source. Okay, how you are investing it and what all investment has been required to maintain the ISMS which has been proposed. Okay, so identify each security control that need to be set. After that, perform a gap analysis. The gap analysis may exist between the information security control currently in place and the requirement of an ISO 27001 should be identified. My organization has already implemented some control. Okay, now as per your 27001, okay, so there are some controls are already in place. We did an assessment. Okay, that is your gap assessment, and we identified a problem that this control is not going to help me. I want to go ahead and add some more controls from an ISMS perspective. Now, who is going to give us an information? This gap analysis. By performing a gap analysis, we can identify that which control has been missing. Okay, this allows an organization to identify the current control and need improvement and plan according to address them. Okay, we want 20 more controls to go ahead and have a better security posture. Okay, so plan it and implement it accordingly. That is what your gap analysis has been saying. So we have been talking about and gap analysis. Now, once the gap analysis has been done, there is few important thing which need to be undertaken. Okay, so when we publish the report, okay, so when we publish the gap analysis report, the report should be having at least some information. The information as in the form of, let's say, you are going to provide an summary, or you can say the description of your observations. Okay, observation of your situation. Okay, along with that, it should have Objective as well, objective of your project. Okay, not only that, other difference between as well, of other difference as well, what is your existing situation and what is your objective to achieve it. Okay, and if you want to give a recommendation, you can give the recommendation as well apart from that. So at least this thing need to be available. Apart from that, if you want to go ahead and add additional information, go ahead and you can go ahead and add an additional information as well. Okay, so once this gap analysis has been done, we have to establish some maturity target as well, that how we are going to mature, how we are going to achieve it. If there is a problem, how we are going to solve those problems. Okay, now after the gap analysis, what do we have? We need to develop some framework. Okay, ISMS framework. Now what the ISMS framework has been saying, that at least go ahead and establish some policy after it. Okay, policies, procedures, and this need to be documented as well. Now there is an policy and a guideline. There's a difference between a policy and a guideline. Okay, now this policy and guidelines are both a very important component for an organization governance framework. Okay, so what they do, they serve they serve certain purpose, but those purpose are having a distinct characteristics as well. Okay, so let's talk about on policy first. Now policy are what? These are your high level statement first of all. Okay, they are the principle, you can say they are the guide, they are giving us a guide for decision making and behavior within the organization. Not only that, they set certain organization intentions as well. Okay, what are your expectations regarding to specific area? Okay, so these policies are typically becoming a mandate thing. Okay, mandate means that this thing need to be applied for all the employees, and make sure they are complying with them as well. These are the requirement for the policy. Okay, not only that, policies are addressing certain critical issues as well. Issues such as your security related issue, privacy related issue, ethics related issue, okay, compliance related issues, and those issues should be acceptable to use in that sources. That's what your policy has been saying. Okay, so policy includes your information security policy, acceptable use policy, code of conduct, okay, equal employment or opportunity policy. Okay, that's what your policy is. Then we have is your guidelines. Guidelines are what? On the other hand, it is going to provide some more detailed instruction, or you can say the recommendation, how we are going to implement those policy and how we are going to achieve those specific objective. That is what your guidelines are. Okay, so they are offering certain practical advice, or you can say the best practice, or you can say the suggestion, how you are going to carry out the task, how you are going to make a decision. Okay, so unlike policy, guidelines are usually not mandatory. It's not mandatory, it's totally depending on to the organization whether they want to obey it or not. Okay, it's a flexible thing. It is going to provide an you can say additional clarification. Okay, so that is going to help the employee to understand about the organization policy effectiveness. Okay, you can say the data classification. That is what your guidelines are. Okay, so let's talk more about this policy, that if an organization go ahead and after the gap analysis, they go ahead and imply the security policy. Now what we do, we publish this information security policy, and not only that, we communicate this policy with all our interested party. Now interested party will be what? Will be whom? For an organization, those who have been working with this organization, along with that to whom we have been supporting. Okay, now generally there are three types of an policy. Okay, so these are the certain types. First is your high level general policy, then we have high level specific policy, then we have topic specific policy. Okay, so generally we have three level of an policy within the organization. High level general policy is what? It is giving you a general framework. Okay, so within which the information security will be provided. Okay, what are your general objective, how you are going to ensure that business will be going into a continuous manner, what will be your limitation. Okay, what will be your preventive area. Okay, what can be an can say potential damage to an asset, and what level of an acceptance will be for an organization for any security incident. So for that we have a high level general policy. Then we have is your high level specific policy. Okay, now this high level specific policy is a subset, you can say, subset of the rule, subset of your practices. Okay, so generally this has been related with a specific area, or you can say they are mostly subordinated to your high level general policy. Okay, so both these policy are usually subjected to review the process first of all. Okay, what will be the sensitive nature of your function, of your strategy, of your organization is. Okay, so that is going to support it. Okay, so we are going to address different topic. Okay, and can apply and can be applicable to that specific function of that organization. Okay, then we have is your top specific policy. Okay, so these top specific policies are what they are supporting your information security policy. Okay, so that is your high level general policy. So this top specific policy is going to uh, support my high level general policy. Policy on access control, policy on cryptography, policy on incident management, policy on continuous and activeness as well. Okay, so these are what, these are your general example. Okay, which have been independent enough for the specific requirement. Okay, so whenever we say the information security policy, so who is going to approve this? The management is going to approve it. Why they are going to approve? Because we have already done the risk assessment, and based on to that risk assessment we have constructed certain policy. Okay, once the policy has been constructed, we have implemented those policy and monitoring it as well. Okay, so when we go ahead and add up an policy, so we have four phases under to that any a policy. Either it's an high level specific, or top level specific. So what we require as management support to approve. Okay, so first what we do an risk assessment. Okay, so in this phase what we are identifying the problem that asset should be protected. Protected from what? Protected from your potential threat, protected from an vulnerability. Okay, so within risk assessment we are going to identify the problem and make sure those problems are being shared with your top management. Okay, now top manage what we are going to do, they are going to evaluate the benefit, evaluate the cost from that. If there is a problem, what will be an outcome with that problem. Okay, how much cost will be required to uh, to to safeguard all this thing. What will be the expenses, what will be the budget. Organization is going to initiate the policy construction. Okay, with the help of an risk management with risk mitigation strategies. Okay, after that what we do, we go ahead and construct that policy. Okay, so in this phase your information security policy has been developed. Okay, developed on what? Developed on your findings, developed on your recommendation. There is a problem with my network team, so what we did, we go ahead and added a policy over there. Okay, what policy we have added? That only the internal employee can access the internal portal. Apart from that, if you are trying to access the internal portals outside from this organization, it won't be, you can say you are not going to access it. So we had added a policy over there. We had added a group over there. Okay, so information security policies is generally going to involve all your selected controls as well. Okay, what we are going to achieve now, this policy should be reviewed and approved. Approved by whom? Approved by your top management. Okay, that we think so that that this internal portal should be accessed from an internal network. Why from an internal network? Because for an organization, your internal network is a secured one, and your internet is an unsecured channel. Okay, so make sure only only this people or only the employee who have been sitting into the internal network, they can access this portal. Apart from that, if you are sitting from home and trying to access this portal, you cannot do it. Additionally, we can have an VPN in that place provided by that organization. Okay, so like this you can create certain policies, and that need to be submitted to your top management. Top management is going to review it. If they are good to go, implement it. That is what your my third step has been saying. Implementation of the policies. Okay, detailed implementation plan has been required. How you have defined the security policy or the security control, what are the requirement, how you are going to assign this security responsibility as well, how you are going to perform the test as well, how you are going to conduct a training and awareness session for all the employees. Make sure you are going to provide the information to the top management again. Okay, so at every level we are taking and support from your top management. After doing a risk assessment, provide that report to the top management. They are going to review it. Yes, we can go ahead and add in policy, construct a policy. We have created a policy. Okay, post to that, send it send the information to your top management. Top management thinks so, okay, that's look completely fine with me. Go ahead and do an implementation. Now in an implementation phase, how you are going to implement, how you are going to secure it, what will be the roles, what will be the responsibility. Okay, how you are going to conduct a training awareness session as well to all the employees. Okay, so make sure you have a plan and ready and submit it to a top management. Once the top management approves it, okay, then is your fourth phase, which has been saying monitoring and maintenance. Okay, make sure you're monitoring and maintaining it. How it has been done? With an internal audit. Okay, so there are two more activities we have been doing over here. First is your monitoring, and the second is your maintaining. Okay, so your monitoring mechanism should be put into the place where we are going to ensure that your information security policy is being enforced inside the organization, with all the employees have been complying with it, with the requirement. Not only that, we are maintaining it. How? By reviewing it, by reviewing of unsecured incident, by going with business strategies, by going with a legal requirement as well. Okay, or any request for a change as well. This is how we go ahead and start maintaining those policies. Now the question arises over here that if we are writing a policy, if we are creating a policy, okay, any security policy, what all following need to be given in that? Okay, so when we say about a security policy, first what we do, we go with and create a model. Okay, we draft that model. We can say we draft that information security policy, then we draft specific security policies as well. Then we are going to ensure the management is been approving it. Okay, and publish. After that, this is been published and it will be evaluated. This is how we go it. Okay, this is the current state model. Okay, now when we create it, what all information need to be given in that? Okay, so when we construct a policy, or when we go with the structuring of an policy, so first is your administrative policy summary, introduction, scope, objective, principle, responsibility, key outcome, relation policy, and policy requirement. Okay, so these all things have been required. Now my administrative is what? The title, policy title. Okay, what that policy is of. make sure you are giving it a version as well, version number. Okay, when we are writing this, the date. Okay, who has been writing this? The name of the policy owner who has been writing it. Not only that, after that, who has been approving it? Make sure you are providing his name as well, his information as well, the approver's name. Okay, all this classification will be coming under to the administrative. Now the first page has been failed, and we go ahead and start with our second page. Now second page has been saying that the title is of a specific policy. Let's say it's an password policy. Okay, give us an information summary of that password policy. Okay, now this can be written into an one or two sentence. Okay, in one or two sentence we are going to give an overview. Okay, now this is something which we can merge with an introduction as well, your policy summary, a brief explanation of the topic of that policy. Okay, so after that what we have is your scope. Now scope is what? Describing to what all parts we are in the organization, in which all department we are adding this policy, this password policy. Okay, give an information. This policy need to be affected in which area? Okay, in my sales department, in my operation department, in my accounts department. In these three specific area, the password policy need to be applied. That we are describing in the scope. Okay, then we go with an objective. What is the reason behind? Describe the intent of that policy. Why we are going and adding in this policy, this password policy? What is the reason behind to that? Okay, not only that, the principal has been saying what? Principal has been saying describe the rules as well. Okay, rules as in how you are going to identify the key process. Give us a topic, or you can say give us a description about it. Okay, what will be the rule? The rule is been saying that after 45 days your password need to be reset. Okay, so that is what your principal has been saying, that after 45 days your password need to be reset. Not only that, there will be an countdown. Okay, so in the last 3 days you will receive an countdown. First has been saying that your password will get expired in next 3 days. Make sure you reset the password. Second day, 2 days been left, it's the last day, make sure you reset it. So like this we are going to give an information in the principal. Okay, who is the responsible person for that password policy? The admin team is the responsible person. Describe the responsible person. Describe the responsibilities, actions as well. Okay, now in some cases this includes the description of an organization arrangement as well, as well as the responsibility of the authority. Okay, authority person who has been designing the role. Okay, now after that we have is your key outcome. Okay, now key outcome is what? Generally it describes the business outcome, that with this policy what advantage you have been getting. The advantage is no one can have an access to those servers, to those laptop, or to those devices. Only the authorized person can have it. How? With there is an authentication going, authentication with an ID and password. Only his ID is been allowed to access those device. Apart from that, no other person can have an access to it. Okay, then we have is your related policy. Okay, is there any related or is there any relevant policy who has been meeting up the same objective? Okay, provide an additional detail about those topic. Okay, and end of the day the last is your policy requirement. Why we require this policy? What is the reason behind to this? Give us a description, give us a you can say detailed information of about the requirement. Okay, so this is how we write a policy. Okay, all this information need to be available in that document. Okay, first we go with the name, the number, the date, the owner name who has been writing it and the approver name as well. After that, what that policy is of. Okay, give us an information. Okay, summarize it. We can merge it with an introduction as well, where those policies need to be implemented. Write it in the scope. What is the main reason behind to that? Give us an objective. Okay, describe the intent of that policy. Then is your principal. Principal has been saying what? Describe the rule. Okay, what are the concern action? Okay, responsibility. Who's been the responsible person who's been taking care about this policy? After that, once the implementation has been done, who is going to make sure that this is been going into an continuous format? Okay, what are the key outcome? What benefit your business will be getting? What achievement? What are the objective has been meeting after implementing this policy? Is there any related policy similar to this? Okay, which has been can say concluding with this? Give us a detailed information. Okay, and what are the requirement? Why we require this? Because this server is a dedicated one, or that system is a dedicated one. I don't want anyone to access it apart from that authorized person. That's why we have that policy. Okay, so this was the general information about how we go ahead and write the policy. Okay, so once this has been drafted, that will be sent to your top management. Once the top management approve it, we go ahead and implement it, and that will be shared with all your interested parties. That will be your employees, or you can say uh, the business partners as well, if they have been coming under to your interested party. If not, with your employees, make sure it has been shared with them. Okay, now the next part is your risk assessment. Now before to end risk assessment, let's understand the risk management as well. Okay, so how this thing has been addressed, how we are going to follow this risk assessment or risk management. So there are certain requirement for that. Okay, so requirement is the plan has been required to perform a risk assessment. Okay, so as an auditor, we are going to ensure that information security management system will be reaching it towards its outcome. Okay, so why we are performing this risk assessment? To prevent, to reduce the undesired effect as well. Okay, not only that, with this we can achieve certain continuous improvement as well for the organization. So what we are doing, we are evaluating those actions. Okay, so first we are define first we are defining the methodology, that which type of an assessment we are going to perform. Once the methodology has been selected, then we go ahead and start performing the assessment. Okay, we are going to identify what will be the acceptable risk or what will be an unacceptable risk. Okay, in a risk assessment, what we do, we identify the problem, identify the risk, threat, and vulnerability to what? To your asset. Okay, make a list of an asset, and after that, perform an assessment to that area. What type of an assessment you want to do? You want to perform a vulnerability assessment, or you want to perform a risk assessment? Okay, end of the day, we are going to find out the problem in that asset. Is there any likelihood? Is there any problem to that asset? Okay, assign the owner assigned owner to the identified risk. Okay, once the problem has been identified, make sure the process owner knows about this problem as well. Okay, analyze it. What will be the impact if there is a problem, if there is a loophole? What will be the level of an impact? Let's suppose there is a vulnerability, there is a loophole in my database. Okay, and from that database, my can say employees names have been going out. Okay, so this is my database. From this database, there are few information is getting leaked. That is your employee name. Okay, now how many employees names are getting leaked? Let's say my 10 employee names are getting leaked. Okay, now organization, what they are going to see, they are going to see, is this is getting impacted? Okay, is this one is a crucial one? Further to that, are we getting any further more information related to other employees as well? Okay, so the problem was only often, let's say, USD $10. But to patch this problem, I need to invest at least 20,000 USD. Okay, so organization will going to decide whether they want to accept this or not. They are going to analyze the impact. What is the outcome of that problem? How much information is going is getting leaked? Okay, calculate the impact and the risk. Once it has been calculated, deploy the mitigation, deploy the treatment plan, solve the problem. Okay, I can go ahead and manage. It's okay for me that 10 USD $10 is the information of an USD $10 is getting leaked. It's completely fine. But to patch the problem, I need to invest a lot of money. Okay, I can take that risk. Or else, no, it's an crucial information. I need to somehow fix this thing. So what we are going to do, we are going to update or patch this problem. Okay, deploy a risk mitigation, deploy a risk treatment plan. Okay, now further to that, we are going to talk about a bit more about this risk assessment and your risk mitigation plan as well. Okay, about your risk assessment, about your risk mitigation plan as well. Okay, now when we are going to talk about this, we are going to talk about in our upcoming session that will be tomorrow. Apart from that, post to that, we are going to talk about the roles and responsibilities. Okay, how we are going to assign the roles and responsibilities to the person. Okay, then we are going to talk about the audit preparation. Okay, so once the assessment has been done, make sure that has been monitored, that has been measured, go with the audit preparation, achieve the certification for the organization, and that will be my continual improvement. Okay, so this topic we are going to discuss into our upcoming class that will be tomorrow. So make sure uh, you guys attend tomorrow's session as well. It will be very much interesting and will be insightful as well.